All right, we are live. All right. Welcome to the WMMA Scene Report, weekly show where we go over all the latest news, fight results, and all the happening in the women's mixed martial arts scene. Uh, Before I get started, I just want to say I'm probably going to make this as quick as possible. I'm not feeling good tonight. I think I'm coming down with something. I'm a little congested, so if I sound funny, that's why. But let's start with fight results. So Invicta, we'll start Friday night. Invicta FC Phoenix Rising Series 2, the flyweight tournament. First four fights were the quarterfinals that were decided by random draw Thursday night. In the first fight, Diana Torquato defeated Milana Dudaeva by split decision. Um, I thought Dudaeva, had she done a little more, had she been a little quicker on the draw. Sorry, I have a cricket in this room, and I can't even get to it, so shut it up. So, if Dudaeva would have been a little quicker on the draw and a little less hesitant, I thought she could have taken it. But it was a nice showing by the Invicta newcomer Torquato. Next up, Deanna Bennett defeated Liz Tracy by unanimous decision. This was a typical vitamin D Deanna Bennett fight. Tracy allowed herself to really just get, controlled against the fence. Next up, Miranda Maverick defeated Victoria Leonardo by unanimous decision. Maverick surprised me in this fight. She was much faster than the taller, lengthier Leonardo, and showed very good skill in being able to get around Leonardo's height and reach advantage. And she was very fast, too, so Leonardo had a hard time answering it. And then in the final quarterfinal, Shanna Young defeated Mayu Suotama by unanimous decision. Nice showing by Shanna Young there. In the first of the tournament reserve bouts, Chantel Coates defeated Fleur Hani by split decision. This was considered an exhibition match, so their records didn't change. Honestly, nothing against Chantel Coates. I thought Hani won it. And the way Coates reacted, I think she knew it too, or thought so as well. In the other reserve bout, Kay Hansen defeated Carolina Jimenez. A lot of scrambles in this short fight, and it went to unanimous decision. Did it go to decision? Yeah, I guess so. I liked what I saw from Jimenez. I never saw her fight before. I liked what she was showing me. I'll shut it up. So I'm looking forward to seeing more Jimenez. Hansen look back to form, her usual form. Then on to the semifinals. Miranda Maverick defeated Shanna Young via submission due to rear naked choke at 2 minutes and 35 seconds of the single round fight. Another good performance by Maverick. And in the other semifinal, Deanna Bennett defeated Diana Torquato via submission due to rear naked choke at 3 minutes 34 seconds of round one. Much better performance by Bennett than in her first fight, I thought. In one of the two non-tournament bouts that was also at flyweight, Josie Storts defeated Helen Lucero via submission due to triangle choke at 4 minutes and 21 seconds of the first round. A very nice showing by Josie Storts, who just seemed faster, stronger, more athletic than the much older Lucero. I think there was like a 20-year difference between two fighters. And then in the co-main event non-tournament bout, Maria Agapova defeated Alexa Connors via submission due to rear naked choke at 3 minutes 3 seconds of the first round. Very nice showing by Agapova. She got Connors hurt with the strikes, and then she jumped on her and got the rear naked choke. Excellent showing by Agapova. Now, Connors needs to really work on her defense, though. She needs to work on her defense, and I think she just needs more time sparring. She doesn't react well to getting hit. I mean, nobody really likes getting hit, but you got to learn how to not show as much when you're hurt the way she does. And then finally, in the tournament final and the main event, Miranda Maverick defeated Deanna Bennett via submission due to rear naked choke at 3 minutes 38 seconds of the third round. I thought it was a very close fight up until the last round, and then Maverick got that choke on. She had worked at it for a while. She was definitely going to win the round, and it stayed there. And then Bennett, the arm was around her, and Bennett like pulled it down. Like, I don't know if she was like trying to relieve her face or whatever, but she basically gave the choke to Miranda Maverick. Now, that is not to take away from Miranda Maverick, but it was really disappointing just to see Bennett make such a mistake like that. But congrats to Miranda Maverick, the Phoenix Series 2 champion. Also on Friday night at LFA, what is this, 75, an atomweight fight. Stephanie Hernandez defeated, how do you say it, Chrysola Kokovatakis, I guess it's a Greek name, via split decision. There was supposed to be a fight between Caitlin Neal and Sam Hughes at 125 pounds. However, Neal pulled out due to some type of injury. She has since updated on social media that she'll be out for 3 to 4 months. So I'd like to wish Caitlin Neal a quick and speedy recovery. Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. Haven't seen the videos yet. I think they had the streaming channel had them up for like a little bit, but they weren't available in the U.S. I'm not sure what weight it was at. Tapology has it 125. I think it was some kind of catch weight. But Hyelin Kwan defeated Jay Che via unanimous decision. Kwan climbed to 2 and 3. Che fell to 2 and 3. One thing that I found interesting was that Kwan was the fighter that had been fighting at heavier weight, and Che was fighting all the way down at atom weight. But in the weigh-in pictures, Che looked all around bigger. I thought that was very interesting to see. Hopefully I'll get to see the fight soon. Also Saturday, UFC 242. First up at bantamweight, Sarah Morris defeated Liana Jojua via TKO due to ground and pound. 2 minutes 26 seconds of the third round. Morris climbed to 6 and 5. Jojua fell to 7 and 3. This fight, to me, showed, that not everyone gets the octagon jitters, but some do, and it's definitely a thing. Jojua looked very lost in there. I think she was a little bit starstruck, and I think that her time off from this, she hadn't fought in well over a year, affected her. So we'll have to see what the future brings for her. Morris, though, looked very good. Unfortunately, she missed weight, but she got the win. So looks like she'll get to stay in the UFC a little bit longer because she definitely needed to get this win, and she did. And then next up at flyweight, Joanne Calderwood defeated Andrea Lee via split decision. I thought this was a pretty darn close fight. Calderwood showed a lot of improvement. Honestly, though, man, both looked very slow in there with their striking. Neither of them are very fast moving. But Calderwood did look improved against Lee, who was, I think, the favorite going in. Lee kind of just seemed to fade as the fight went on. I think the closer the end of the fight got, the less she seemed to want to do. To me, I think Lee is still very much a front runner, where as long as she is doing good and she is ahead, she's going to be okay. But if she falls behind or if she gets in trouble, she gets lost or she just seems to give up. So to me, I think she's still suffering from front runner syndrome. Run out of things to throw at that dresser it's under. Stupid crickets. Bellator 226 in the featherweight division. No, I lost it. Jessica Borga defeated Amber Leibrock via submission due to armbar. 4 minutes 45 seconds of the first round. Borga climbed to 3 and 2. Leibrock fell to 3 and 4. Um, I picked Leibrock via just being more familiar with her. I guess Borga put on a good show. I only got to see the very end of the fight. I was surprised, or no, I think I picked Borga to win by TKO. So I was a little bit surprised by the submission. Also, Saturday night, Lights Out Championship 5, the first ladies fight to ever headline in Michigan. At a flyweight, Amanda Cooper, or I believe her name is now Brundage, defeated Jamie Milanowski via TKO due to punch at 4 minutes and 16 seconds of the first round. Cooper climbed to 4-5. Milanowski fell below 500. She fell to 3-4. And then early Sunday morning, Road FC 55 at 117 pounds. It was a catchweight fight. Yoonha Hong defeated Kyolin Kim via submission due to rear naked choke at 2 minutes of the first round. Hong climbed to 3-4. She's one away from finally reaching the 500 mark. Kim fell below the 500 mark. She fell to 1-2. Kind of a pointless fight. I mean, I think it was obvious that the older, more experienced Hong was going to win. But Kim, she is, I think, 17. She's still in high school. She's got a long way to go. She'll, bounce back from this. And then finally, on Sunday, Deep 91st Impact. Where's the ladies' fight? Mizuki Furuse defeated Mika Sakamoto via TKO due to punches at 4 minutes, 28 seconds of the first round. Furuse climbed to 6-7. Sakamoto fell to 0-1. Typical WMMA. Absolutely pointless fight. I mean, do they really need to give Furuse a win that badly? I don't know. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. All right, on to the news. First up, Rika Emiko, 25-8-1 versus Anne Carolina, 6-7, announced for Pancrase 309 on 20th October. Carolina is coming from Brazil. Let me switch back over real quick here. There we go. Next up, 19-year-old, 2-1 amateur fighter, Russian amateur fighter and soccer player Polina Kobzeva apparently died during a training session due to apparent heart failure. Her coach described it as her heart collapsed. Unfortunately, no further details were available. This was at either thefightnation.com or thebodylock.com. Just not much available. Apparently, she plays soccer as a pro or semi-pro. She's an amateur fighter, though. But only 19 years old and already gone. So, my heart goes out to her family and friends. It's a shame. Next up, atomweight prospect. Or you know what? I'll get to that in a minute. Loma Lookboomi announced via Instagram that she has signed with the UFC. She will make her debut in Singapore on October 26th. And the fight was announced since I wrote that. We'll get to that in a second. Japanese promotion Pancrase announced the signing of atomweight Sayako Fujita, 4-1, who will debut with the promotion in November. Now, I'm not sure if she's going to fight at atomweight in Pancrase or not. I don't think they've ever had an atomweight fighter before, so we'll see. If you've never watched Sayako fight, she basically likes to muscle her opponents around. She's an atomweight, but she's very muscular for an atomweight, and she mostly takes on fighters with a limited ground game and basically out-wrestles them. Okay, 2 fights announced for UFC Singapore, 26th October. Both are in the strawweight division. First up was Loma Lookboomi, 3-1. She's taking on Alexandra Albu, 3-1. And then Yan Xiaonan, 11-1, is taking on Ashley Yoder, 7-4. And then Ryzen announced 2 fights. Well, announced one more fight. One other was previously announced. for Osaka on 12 October. At 112 catchweight, Reina Kubota 8-3 taking on Shauna Ram of Canada 1-0, looking to give an easy win for Reina. And then at 108, Sahi Ham 21-8 versus Miyu Yamamoto 5-3 was previously announced, but it has definitely been confirmed as a number one contender for the super atomweight title currently held by Ayaka Hamasaki. You throw something at it and it keeps going, but I drop my book and it shuts up. I'm not even sure if you guys can hear it. There's a cricket in the room and it's driving me up a wall. I thought I killed it twice already, and it keeps moving closer and closer to the TV and everything, and the computer. Next up, the UFC has signed. So these next two headlines are connected. I'll read them off in the chronological order that I found them. So first up, UFC signed bantamweight fighter Vanessa Milo 10-5 per her manager Lucas Lutkis. And then in now definitely related news that was broke earlier this morning, UFC fighter Marion Renault is out of her fight with Irene Aldana in Mexico City 21st September for undisclosed reasons. And then it was later announced today that Vanessa Milo is indeed in for Marion Renault against Irene Aldana. Next up, at featherweight, Toledo Nogueira 7-1 will meet Jesse Miele 8-3, making her Bellator debut at Bellator 231 on October 25th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. And then finally in the news, Joanne Calderwood is facing a possible 6-month suspension stemming from a nasal injury sustained during her fight with Andrea Lee at UFC 242. Sorry, guys. As soon as I'm done recording this, I'm flushing it out with a broom and killing it. All right, next up, for a little segment I like to call the fucking, aka the UFC rankings update. Mark Zima says I should consider making the cricket a regular. Apparently, he finds it pretty funny. Okay, the only changes in the UFC rankings are all in the flyweight division. I think they changed just a little bit more even to just from earlier today. Katlyn Chukagian has now moved up one spot, and she is tied with Jessica Ai at number 1. Joanne Calderwood has moved up 2 spots to number 3. I don't know why. She beat a fighter that was lower ranked, so it makes no sense to me. Dropping Liz Carmouche down from 3 to 4, and Jennifer Maia from 4 to 5. Andrea Lee dropped down from 6 to 7, 1 spot, allowing Viviane Araújo to climb up 1 more spot. Why she dropped it all in the rankings when she fought a higher ranked fighter, I don't quite understand. Same as Calderwood. Why is she climbing up higher after beating a lower ranked fighter? Again, it makes no sense to me. That's why I like to call it the fuckery, because they make no sense. And now I think there's a thread on Reddit revealing just how messed up the UFC rankings are and the rankers. They're supposed to be like up to 90 originally. They started off with like 40 something, and now they are down to I think 14. Most of them, and it's supposed to be MMA media members or media members, I think only half of them currently cover the sport. Some of them no longer do. So that just tells you how messed up the people that are supposed to be deciding these rankings just how messed up the system is. It's a broken system. Uh, Next up, little segment I like to call Welcome to the Scene. Welcome Antonio, Zoom, Robert Aguilera, Christopher Ramirez, Manny Ravura, Dwayne I. Alfred, and this one's a long one. Yakuja, Trust Me, My Channel. So, guys, welcome to the scene. Guys, girls, whatever. As far as upcoming events, there are no upcoming major female mixed martial arts fights that I've been able to find this weekend. UFC Vancouver is this weekend, but there are no ladies fights on it, which is kind of disappointing. Which brings me to my final segment, little discussion. If you saw the, what do you call it, the thumbnail, it's, what does it mean to be a champion? I want to talk about this just looking at, the 3 women's champions in the UFC right now, and then really all the champions across the UFC, the sport, whatever. What does it mean to be a champion? I broke this down in 2 parts. One of it, to me, is stuff that observations that I've made, and then a second segment that is just purely my opinions about how I feel a champion should behave. So first segment, to me, the way I look at it, being a champ is about more than simply being the best fighter in your division. Now, that is still the most important part, but it is only one piece of the puzzle. The biggest piece, I'd say probably the second biggest piece of the puzzle, is that you are now a representative, a face. Okay, first up, you're a face of your division. You're the first person people think of with regards to your weight division. And then you're the fighter that everyone is going to compare all the other fighters in your division to. It doesn't matter if they just made their promotional debut. I've seen fighters make their promotional debut and immediately get compared to the champ. It makes no freaking sense whatsoever. But you go online, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, forums, Sherdog, Reddit, whatever. People are making threads talking about, oh yeah, this fighter looked really good, but they'd get crushed by whoever the current champ is. Well, no fucking shit, Sherlock. They just made their promotional debut. Let them get a few fights in first before you compare them to the champ, But it also means that you are now a face of your promotion company. Whether that means press tours, being a guest fighter at events that you're not directly involved in, making media appearances, interviews, podcast appearances, going on TV, whatever. You are now a face of your promotion pretty much at all times. So everything you do is going to reflect on your promotion. For example, Zhang Wei Li just became the champion a little week and a half ago. She spent just about all of last week, doing a press tour of China, and then she got flown out to Abu Dhabi. And she was there for UFC 242. She finally just started posting training pictures on her social media accounts again. So it looks like she's now finally back in training. So that is a big part of being a champ, especially if you're a new champ. You're going to get flown out everywhere. And then finally, you are a face of your sport. Okay, the sport, whether a champion likes it or not, the sport is going to be judged based on the champions. And that's not just, again, it's not just based on your skill inside the ring. It is based on how you are outside the ring. You go out and you get a DUI, you make your sport look bad. Okay, MMA is still a niche sport. Yes, it is on ESPN. Yes, it is bigger than probably has ever been before. But guess what? It's still not American football. It's still not soccer. It's still not baseball. It's still not, basketball. Okay? One screw up makes the entire sport look bad. Okay. Now, meanwhile, you're doing all of that. You're busy representing the sport, but you still have to maintain the level of training required that got you the title in the first place. Okay. Once you're the champ, you can't slack off in training. You've got to learn. You've now got all these extra things, but you still have to balance it out with all of your training. Because guess what? You've got a whole division gunning for you now. Okay. Now, some fighters, they really can't handle it from the start. Okay. One example, and some people might disagree, Rose Namajunas did not really take to handling the media well. She really didn't like making media appearances. I think she did Joe Rogan's podcast, and might have done like one interview with Helwani, but she really didn't do a whole lot of media after winning the title, and definitely didn't do any once she defeated Joanna the second time. To me, I thought she just did not really want to be the champ if that entailed handling all that other stuff. And it showed in the way she acted leading up to Jessica Andrade fight and the way she acted immediately afterwards. Now, some fighters do take to all that pressure at first, but some of them tend to let it go to their head later on. The two best examples in the women's divisions are Ronda Rousey and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Both of them let the pressure go to their heads, and they also started smelling their own farts too much. They started to think that they were unbeatable. They started to think that they were just miles better than the other fighters in the division, and they got proven wrong. So a fighter needs to be able to handle all of that pressure going on. You have to be able to keep up all your training, but you also have to stay in the right mindset, thinking that, yeah, I might be the best, but I might not be the best tomorrow, because there's always somebody out there better than you. I mean, you're the champ. Everyone is going to be trying to be the person who's better than you. Okay? So those are some general observations that I've made. Second part of this is going to be wholly my personal opinions on what I like to see from a fighter as far as behavior goes. First one, a champ who won't fight outside of their country cannot truly call themselves a world champ. Okay? Big example of this in boxing, Floyd Mayweather. Once he became a star, he never fought outside of Las Vegas again. To me, Floyd, as great as he was, he might be the best boxer ever, depending on your opinion of him. But he wasn't a world champ. He was a champ of Las Vegas, really. But like, I thought a good example of this, though, of this opinion, though, a good example is that, bringing it back to Rose Namajunas, she went and defended her title in Brazil. She lost it, but she was willing to do it. And then Jessica Andrade was willing to defend in China. Lost, but she was willing to take the risk and go fight in an environment unfamiliar to her. That's a big risk for fighters. Ronda Rousey went and defended it in Australia, but she was fighting another American, so it kind of balanced out that way. One good example of this, a good example coming from boxing, was Muhammad Ali. The Rumble in the Jungle, the Thriller in Manila. He wasn't fighting any people from those countries, but he was willing to go all around the world to defend his title because he knew what it meant to be a world champion. You are the champion of the world. So you got to be able to prove it to the entire world, not just New York, not just Las Vegas, not just the U.S., not just Brazil if you're from Brazil. You've got to be able to go all over the world and defend your title. Otherwise, just call yourself a UFC champion. Don't call yourself, or whatever. Don't call yourself a world champion. Next up. To me, a true champ takes on all comers. If they've got a fight lined up, then they're going to take it. They're not going to say no. Okay? If you don't think if you're a champion and you don't think a fighter has earned their shot, then prove it. Take them on and prove it inside the octagon, inside the cage. Beat their ass so bad that people have no choice but to say, oh, yeah, they had no business being in there with the champ. Okay? For example, I am not a big fan of Valentina Shevchenko, but she proved that Jessica Ai did not belong in the cage with her. Straight up. And then finally, a champ needs to put emphasis on their wins, okay? Any champion that is content to do just enough to win and hold on to the belt without really taking it to the challenger, or any champ that is willing to do basically just enough to eke out the decision, that's a weak champ to me. To me, a champ wants to prove they are the best, and they're going to prove it by leaving no doubt that they are the absolute best. They're going to take it to their opponent every time. Good example of this to me is, Ronda Rousey. She was always on the offensive. I'm not saying you can't be a counter fighter. I'm just saying that you've got to put an emphasis on your win. If you're just content to just do the bare minimum to win, then you're a weak-ass champ. Tyron Woodley was a weak champion to me. Yes, he won the fights, but he never really did anything more than exactly what was needed, the bare minimum necessary to win. I thought Valentina Shevchenko's last fight was lame. I thought she basically did that. She was content to just sit back and let Carmouche do most of the work. And Carmouche really wasn't doing much anyway. So Valentina kind of had to get aggressive a little bit. And yeah, I understand that's her style, but still. You got a champ puts emphasis on their wins, okay? They're not going to leave any doubt that they're the champ. And they're not going to be content to just, win a boring, lazy decision. They're going to go after their opponent. They're going to put a beat down on them. And you can do that defensively. Anderson Silva did it. So, all right, that's it. That's the three major opinions I have on being a champ. And really, that's all I have tonight. Let me know your thoughts. If you're watching the playback, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like always, appreciate it. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMAC now, the fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications. And thank you again to all the new subscribers, whether you were an open subscriber or not. We're only 10 subscribers away right now from hitting my end of September goal, and it's only September 11th. So I'm very happy with that. And finally, speaking of September 11th, a special shout out to all first responders and military out there, active duty, reserve, guard, veterans alike. I'm a veteran myself. Thank you for all that you guys do. You're certainly not forgotten on this day. But anyway, guys, we'll catch you next time.